What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another FPL video. This is not a video I expected to make today, but apparently FPL want to give us all an extra free hit chip. It's not an April Fool. I did have to check the Twitter account like 3 times just to make sure it was the official one, but that is happening. If you've already used your free hit, you're now going to get another one from Gameweek 20, and if you haven't used it, you're going to have 2 to play from Gameweek 20. Obviously, you could play it this week if you wanted to, but if you're not playing in Gameweek 19, from Gameweek 20 onwards, you have 2 free hit chips. We're going to talk about how it's going to work, what you won't be able to do with it, how it might affect future plannings, my thoughts, reaction to whether it's a good move from FPL or not. For those of you that saw the team selection video earlier, I did make it private because it doesn't really change too much for me this week, but I know people will just be asking about the free hit and why I've not included it. So I've made it private. I'm going to re-record it and it will be out tomorrow instead, and we'll push the game week preview back till Friday. There's plenty of time until the deadline anyway. So in this one, free hit, reaction, thoughts, stuff like that. Give it a like, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into it. Okay, so this is not fake news. There's an extra free hit chip for everyone. So let's read through the article for what FPL said. So additional chip will help managers to make adjustments to their teams in light of postponements. This has all come about from the recent postponements we've had. Now, I've not looked into it. It does feel on the surface that there have been a few more postponements than last year, but we still had postponements last year, and it was to do with COVID. Right? I remember a situation where I took out De Bruyne and Watkins because they had a blank. I think they had a blank game week suddenly, which we found out before the deadline. From what I can remember, I mean, it was like a year ago, and I bought in I bought in Harry Kane, and then his match got postponed after I brought him in. So it was a rubbish use of a transfer. It then turned out that De Bruyne had a double game week coming up very soon for a player that I'd taken out. And I had to wildcard early. Now, it was a great decision in the end, but I used the chips we had to make the best of a bad situation. Whereas this time, we've had postponements, maybe a few more, maybe there's more to come, I don't know. But it feels like they're just chucking a chip at it because people are moaning about the whole situation. To me, like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not really complaining about it or anything like that. But I do think that this is to keep people engaged, which I guess is not a bad thing, right? It does increase the competition, of course, but that is pretty much why this has been done, I would say. I don't think it's just because of the postponements, because it is because of the postponements, but people are moaning about it maybe a bit more than they did last year, right? So all FPL managers will now receive 1 extra free hit chip from Game Week 20 to allow significant changes to squads for a single game week without suffering a points hit. What is the free hit chip? So I'll just tell you, right, without reading through it. You get to change your team for 1 week only, and then it reverts back to whatever your previous team was. With the wild card, you use it, change your team, you keep that team until you start making changes to it, like on transfers in future weeks. But with the free hit, if I use my free hit chip this week in Game Week 19, then next week in Game Week 20, I would have exactly the same team I was left with after Game Week 18. A couple of common questions people always ask. If I make a transfer and then I use the free hit chip, will I still have that player next week? No. Once you use the free hit chip, it wipes out any transfers you've already made that week. The other one is, what if I save a transfer and have 2 free transfers? Will using the free hit chip then allow me to have 2 the week after? No. You only ever have 1 after using the free hit chip. So that's basically what it is. Traditionally, there is 1 free hit chip to play each season, but the number of postponements has meant that we have introduced a second to give managers more flexibility when making their all-important squad selections, either in the short term or in a future game week. Managers who have not played their free hit ahead of Game Week 20 will not lose their first. They'll have 2 chips available. So if you've used yours, you'll have another one from Game Week 20. If you're like me and you haven't used one yet, you'll then have 2 from kind of... I mean, again, you could use one this week, but from Game Week 20 onwards, you then have 2. You don't have to use your free hit over the festive period. You can save it for later on in the season when there are likely to be double game weeks into which the postponed fixtures are scheduled. There will be double game weeks. Unless they change things and add extra game weeks at the end of the season, which I don't see happening, there will be double game weeks. So they're basically telling people what to do with the chip. The only thing you can't do, I don't know if maybe I scrolled past it, you cannot use, yeah, there we go. Please, where is it? Please note that you'll be unable to play the free hit in consecutive game weeks, right? So it looks like you're not going to be able to play it in like Game Week 21 and then play it in Game Week 22. My assumption is this isn't because of some strategy thing they don't want people to do. I'm almost certain this is just a tech limitation. They just can't work the tech to allow this to happen. Maybe a coding thing or something like that. So my initial reaction is it's fine. Like, I'm not really someone to complain too much about stuff like this. I'll just get on with it, right? It's part of the job. It's part of the game. But I just think, what if what if nearly whole game week gets postponed, right? If another game week gets postponed, do we get another free hit? Like, what's the limit there? I guess realistically, it doesn't kind of screw anyone over, because anyone that's used theirs already gets to get another one, and anyone that hasn't just gets two, which is probably okay. I think what it will do, and I was going to discuss this in the Game Week preview, and I probably will discuss this more in the Game Week preview, but this screenshot is from Ben Crellin on Twitter. You should, I can't scroll down. Where can you? Yeah, you can see it on the right here, okay? So Ben Crellin, at Ben Crellin, right, on Twitter. Follow him for double Game Weeks, blank Game Weeks. He's super knowledgeable, and I will be talking about his stuff over the next few weeks. So they've scrapped FA Cup replays for the third and fourth round to allow league games to be put into those weeks instead. So there is a likelihood, as you can see here in yellow, likely double game week for some teams in game week 22. So Spurs, Man United, Burnley, Brighton, Leicester, Brentford, Watford. Now with an additional free hit chip, I'm pretty much thinking that everyone's just going to use the chip in this week, right? Maybe if you've only got one left now, it might be a bit different. But for those of us with two, I don't see why we probably wouldn't use it this week. Now, there could also be some double game weeks in 21 as well. And again, there's no point in going into too much detail because none of this is 100% confirmed yet. But there is a possibility that a wild card for game week 21 into double game week 22 could still be the play. And then you save your free hits for later on in the season when there'll be more double game weeks and more blank game weeks as well, right? So it's not 100% that you use it in 22, but you could do. Now, a couple of the reasons why you might want to do that is three of the teams you might notice that are not in yellow for likely double game weeks are Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City, who we all have a lot of players for. Now, if I bring up my team a second, so Liverpool, for example, kind of forget about Salah for a second because I know African Cup of Nations is going to happen, but other Liverpool players, right, let's just say Trent, for example, Game week 22, they play Brentford at home. So, look, you may not want to go for them if they don't have a double, fair enough. But after that, they've got Palace, Leicester, Burnley, Norwich. You're probably going to want to keep them. So you could free hit them out in 22, possibly even keep a couple of Liverpool players if you wanted to, if they fit in the rest of the team. But ultimately, you're going to want them back. With Man City, very similar. They're going to play Chelsea at home in 22. If they don't double, then they've got Southampton, Brentford, Norwich. So again, you might want them back. So you could free hit them out in game week 22 and then get them back from 23 onwards. And Chelsea's maybe a little bit different, right? Whether or not Chelsea double, we'll have to wait and see. But they've only got a couple of good games. So you might now look to use transfers on them soon. And then you're not going to use them on your free hit in 22 anyway, if that's when you use it. And then Spurs blank blank are the games afterwards. So free hit in 22 because of this looks pretty good. But also we have to remember, not only do some of us now have 2 free hit chips, we've also got our second wildcard and we've got bench boost and we've got triple captain as well. So there is still, like I said, the possibility of using the wildcard in 21 to make use of whatever doubles possibly go there. And I'm not even sure that's going to happen because it's pretty soon. And in the current climate where games are being called off, I don't know if it's a good look to kind of arrange some very soon. But for some teams, they're going to have to because they've got too many fixtures to play. You could wildcard in 21, bench boost in 22 possibly, if you've set your team up from 21. And then you've got your 2 free hits later on for another big double game week or a blank game week later on. So overall, it's not. Look, again, I'm not someone to moan. I'm not going to sit here and say this is really bad. I'm not happy about it, but I don't think it was needed to be done. Am I going to make use of it? Of course. Will it still help people that plan more? It probably will. But I do think those that maybe haven't planned as much have got a little bit of a helping hand, is what I would say. And I know that everyone has kind of been screwed over more than others, right? I did all right out of the last couple of weeks, but on the same terms or the same point on that is I spent a couple of transfers over the last few weeks making sure that my bench was better, right? Got in Josh King, got in Pookie. I made my bench better because I knew that postponements, fixture congestion, rotation and stuff like that over Christmas would be quite big. So I've planned for that. Some people haven't. They've been hit by postponements a little bit more. And now they're kind of being helped out by giving them another free hit chip. And I guess some people whose squad was kind of decimated by blank game weeks, the players you own then will definitely have double game weeks later on, right? If you miss a game week, it means that fixture has to be put somewhere else. So your team was probably already a bit more set up than others for possibly Game Week 21 or Game Week 22 doubles. So in some ways, you were disadvantaged at one point and you were at an advantage, but now you're kind of not, because everyone's probably just going to use their free hit chip. But again, I guess at least those people have also got an extra free hit chip. So if their team is looking good for 22 and there is a double game week that week, then they don't need to use a chip, right? They just use their team and they save their chip at a time when people can't use theirs. So look, I wouldn't say it's fair. I wouldn't say it's equal, right? Because people have already been kind of like, again, screwed over in different ways. Some people have only had a couple of players missing. Some would have had like a whole team. Some people only had like 3 playing players last week and stuff like that. So it's hard to, I wouldn't say it's fair, but I don't think it really, I don't know if it matters a huge amount. I'm not like sat here like overly annoyed about it. It's just one extra chip that we have to fit into our strategy. And for the majority of us, it probably will help us out. Maybe to a lesser extent in some ways. Like, again, everyone is just going to free hit in Game Week 22 now, I think. I think we'll see a lot of chips activated that week. But I guess there's still planning to be done. There's still like, 15, 16 extra game weeks after that still to play. So plenty of points to be had. So that is my kind of initial reaction on what's going on. But yes, the summary is everyone's getting an extra free hit chip. If you've used yours already, you'll have one now coming from Game Week 20. If you haven't used yours, you've still got that first one and you'll have an additional one from Game Week 20. So look, Christmas could be fun. They might still postpone some games, but they're not cancelling game weeks. We're going to have a deadline on Boxing Day, a deadline for Game Week 20 on the 28th of December, another deadline for 21 on January, and then possibly we're straight into free hit territory for a double game week in 22. So there's lots of FPL to look forward to. There's lots of points to come. Some people are going to be upset by this, other people less so, I would say. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are around this. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it and hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like I said, that was just a quick reaction summary of what's going on and what it might mean for our teams. I will have team selection tomorrow and game week preview where I'm sure we'll get quite a few more questions on this. And obviously, I'll have a think about it a little bit more as well. This is very reactionary. So game week preview on Friday as well, ahead of a deadline stream on Boxing Day. I'm probably going to skip a video on Christmas Day, to be honest, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. Give it a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you again soon.